Hi, it's Drew with Greenhouse Megastore. Today we're going to be talking about starting seeds. And here I can envision like this, like the little theme music starting. It is early March here in Illinois, and that is a time when we start seeds indoors to move them outside into the garden or the greenhouse. And I'm just going to briefly talk about what I have going on here to move into my garden. I'm P. Allen Smith, and we're talking about seeds. So I'm inside the greenhouse here, inside our office, and you would not have to have a greenhouse. In fact, if this were my house, I would do this. So I don't even know what I'm saying, man. You guys all like throw me off. I had this at home in my basement. It was a simple scrap wood rig that I had with these hanging off of hooks. And I think the best way that I would do it is if I had some scrap wood, I would build a shelf system very similar to this, where you can hang 2 or 3 lights on one tier, and then have another tier and another tier and another tier, and just make it as large as you need to. If you don't have scrap wood and you have to go buy the wood, it actually may be easier to just find some wire shelving that the prop mats will fit on, because you can buy a wire shelving kit for maybe $50 and you don't have to do anything else. You can just hang the lights right from it. If I were to purchase something, that's what I would do. But if I had the scrap wood around, I'm very cheap, so I would just try to build it myself. To start seeds, if you just lay it on a table, it takes up too much space, so try to go vertical with it by either building or buying a shelf. So this setup is similar to that in that there's a surface to hang the lights from, and there's a surface to set the plants on. When you place your lights, you really want them to be 1 inch or 2 just above the top leaves of the plant. So as your plants grow, you have to raise them up. But any more than that, and they start to get what's called leggy, they get stretched, they grow too tall, and they're putting too much energy in reaching up toward the light and not enough energy in growing a good root system, and that can affect their growth later. A little bit of legginess or stretchiness is fine. As you can see, these ones are stretchy. Curse me. And underneath here, there are propagation mats or heat mats, and everything is in a tray. These are 1020 trays. I use the 1020 trays without holes, and I'll tell you why in a moment. And then in the trays there are inserts, and then the inserts are just a different configuration. You can get these in a half dozen or more configurations. I choose the 608s because I think it's a nice trade-off between space and the amount of time your seedling can actually stay in the tray. Because the smaller your cells get, the less time your seedlings can stay in the tray. Now, I have tried here, these are propagation trays. They're a little bit different than the insert. These are actually meant to be used by themselves, but I have them in a tray so we can water them, and I'll explain how I do that later. But in here are onions. Now you can do onions in a smaller cell surface or cell area because the root systems don't get quite so large, and when you plant them close together anyway. So I have 3 or 4 seeds in each one of these, and then that will be one onion plug basically that I'll put in the ground in my garden. And I recommend using a bagged seed starting mix. You can try doing your own, but for seed starting, it's a very delicate process, so just it's cheap enough to get a bagged mix, and it works perfect. So I just fill the trays, and then the way I do it, like I mentioned, I use without the holes, but the inserts, you can see, do have holes in the bottom. And so I just fill the tray with water and put the insert in there, and then it just wicks up from the bottom and keeps the entire cell moist. And once the top starts to dry out, you fill it with more water. You do have to be careful that you don't overwater it, or you can have mold and stuff growing on the top, but it's the easiest way that I've found to water everything.
Sorry, I'm sending a text. Keep talking.
Keep talking. Sorry, I'm completely ignoring you. I can talk about what I have selected here to put in my tray. Does that tickle your fancy? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay. Here I have cool weather crops. Those are cool weather crops. Generally are brassicas. That's cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, Asian greens, usually collard greens, kale, that sort of thing. Also, I have some lettuce, and I have some flowers and things like that. I have started spinach in here too. That's not something I've normally started, but to get the spinach up and then to actually transplant them, I like that idea a little bit better because broadcast seeding spinach, and it's the thinning of it, it's just a little intense with the work. I think that'll work. I actually don't know that it'll work. That's part of the fun, is to sort of experiment. Are you going?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna kick my feet up so you can see my nice white socks.
That's good.
Yeah. So you might be asking, why would you start seeds early? And I say to you, that is a great question. Why would you? Because it is kind of a lot of work. Now the reason I do it is because it gives you a jump on the growing season. Here in the Midwest, there's a specific growing season. Most other places there are too. There's a specific growing season that lasts from, say, April-ish to like October. But throughout that growing season, different plants do well differently based on what the requirements are. So at the beginning and the end of the season, it's kind of the same season. At the beginning, things that like cool weather, that can deal with frost, and are just in general cool weather tolerant, those do great. That's the brassicas, lettuce, radish, beets, things like that do very well. In the middle of the season, things like tomatoes, peppers, melons, okra, corn even, does much better. And the cool weather crops don't do as well. What I intend to do, what I try to do, is to get things going as early as possible, put them in the ground, harvest them when they're ready, and if they need to come out of the ground, I'm ready then to put something back in the ground after it. So these cool season crops are a great example. They'll go in the ground in April. They'll grow fine until probably June, and then they'll be ready to go, come out. They could be cut down to the ground and sort of left, and they'll come back up in the fall. Or you can take them out and plant something like winter squash in behind them, or something else short season. But the goal is to maximize your growing space. You have a limited amount of growing space, and if you only plant one crop in that for the year, that's all you're going to get. But if you can plant 2 or 3, then you double or triple your production, and you can, feed yourself or sell it at market, whatever you're doing. It just allows you to be more productive. And so starting seeds inside is crucial if you're trying to be more productive. Plus, Mother Nature she doesn't cooperate, and so it's nice to trick her. So like the last time we did one of these videos, remember? You remember how long ago it was? Yeah, we were in Tilton.
3 years, maybe?
Maybe 4. And we did this whole thing, and I went away for the weekend. And they died. They died. We all came back and they died. FYI, they were all dead.